Today, the Miami Hurricanes. From Sullivan Stadium in Foxboro, Massachusetts, USA presents College Football 85. Today, the Miami Hurricanes take on the Eagles of Boston College. It took a miracle finish last season to get BC a 47-45 win over Miami. It took another near miracle of sorts to guide the University of Miami flight in on the heels of Hurricane Gloria last night. Are they out of favors before this game even starts? Well, the scriptwriters are already working on a finish for this one. Hello, everybody. Eddie Doucette, Kyle Rote Jr. And Kyle, the glare of the footlights has drawn two former bit players center stage. Vinnie Testaverde, Sean Halloran. They've been used to playing those me and my shadow roles for the last couple of years. Now they're up front and doing quite well.
Well, for Vinnie Testaverde of Miami, obviously following Bernie Kosar's act is very difficult. But Gil Brandt, the coach of the Dallas Cowboys, the great scout, has said that Testaverde is a better athlete than Kosar was, and he has a stronger arm. So far, Miami players seem to have a lot of confidence in him. In terms of Boston College, for Sean Halloran, he has yet to really show the consistency despite the great performance he had last week against Pitt.
Willie Smith is a fellow you got to keep an eye on. Also Melvin, Bratton, and Alonzo Highsmith, names to remember for Miami.
Well, they are, but they've got an inexperienced offensive line, and as good a running backs as they have been, and particularly as young as they still are, it's going to be a different year for them in terms of rushing because of the inexperience of that offensive line.
What about that defense?
Well, the defense for Miami has totally changed. They've taken the approach that they're going away from a reading type of defense to a reacting type of defense, really what Johnson made very famous over at Oklahoma State. So they're going to be going to the ball. It's going to be bees around the beehive, and they're going to be wherever the ball is.
Young secondary. Can Halloran have some fun with that one?
Well, he's had a lot of success, particularly reading keys very well. And I think one thing about Halloran is if he gets a lot of pressure, if you flush Halloran out of the pocket, he's really in trouble. He's not like Flutie, who can run and he can make the big play. So Halloran needs to stay in the pocket and get good protection.
But Vinnie Testaverde has had a lot of success so far, Kyle. 63% on his pass completions, and he hooks up with some good ones like Willie Smith, fellow whose name you'll hear a lot of today.
Willie Smith is another one of those tremendous tight ends, and here you see a little bit of the athletic ability of Testaverde, able to come out of the pocket.
All right, starting it out right now. They got two men in motion, tight end. They double over with two tight ends, Casparello and Gieselman. And on the start, they try and soften up the middle. They go to the 25 to the 26-yard line with Kenny Bell. Number 58, Bruce Fleming, a senior linebacker from Monaca, Pennsylvania, will be the man that pulls him down. Defensively for the Hurricanes, John McVeigh, Derwin Jones, Jerome Brown, and the big man up front with Moss, Myra, and Fleming, the linebackers. Big man being Kevin Fagan. You want to remember that name. Selwyn Brown, Benny Blaines, Tolbert Bain, and Don Ellis. Strong safety to the left corner. All right, we have a second down now here with the ball on the 28-yard line. Halloran throwing on the second time. And a man complete the 35. That's Darren Flutie. And Boston College with their first down of the ball game.
Four receivers going out, Eddie. Gieselman was the primary receiver. The linebackers had him covered. And Sean Halloran, as he did so well last week, getting a good start, completing his first pass, showing he has the ability to go to that secondary receiver.
Halloran has been just terrific. Halloran so far is 1,040 yards coming into this one for the season with 6 touchdowns with 7 interceptions. And firing at about 57% on his completions. First and 10. Lets it go. Has a man in the seam. Giaquinto. And he pulled it down inside the 40 at the 30 completions. First and 10. Lets it go. Has a man in the seam. Giaquinto. And he pulled it down inside the 40 at the 36-yard line. What a grab by the Boston College baseball outfielder, and he shows you how he can go there with a glove in his hand, this time without one, and he just pulled it in.
Halloran back in the pocket, getting good protection, stays steady right there, throws the ball out over a double coverage on the backside, and Giaquinto makes a circus catch, very good circus catch. That's why coaches use those one-handed catching drills.
29 yards complete. Second first down for Boston College. Ball is on the 36-yard line. The double tight end set with Casparello and big Scott Gieselman. And on a long count, offside that time, comes the defensive right tackle, And I don't know whether Jerome Brown was drawn off or not. But
I think it was against Sean Regent, number 54 for Boston College.
And again, Kyle, we'll mention the fact that Regent, who is 6'4", 281, a senior, going up against Fagan and Brown on the right side, and it's a procedure call called against Boston College, so it'll be marched off against them.
This game very important for both teams, both receiving a few votes last week in terms of the top 20.
One ball, illegal procedure, offense, first stop.
And while neither team was in the top 20 with a victory today, one of them probably will move up into the high teens.
Jack Bicknell, who would love to see his young son, Jack Jr., out there playing center. They miss him dearly. They're going with Mark Gowetzky in the middle, and they'll give him help in some of their blocking schemes. On the draw. And Jim Bell gets the call, tries the middle of the line, gets back over the 40, inside the 40 down to the 39. Derwin Jones, 6'4", 268-pound defensive tackle, a sophomore from Miami, the hitter.
The new type of pursuit defense that Miami is using, that is, everyone goes to the ball, they read flow, and they go aggressively to the ball, a proactive rather than a reactive type of defense, is going to be something new for their players to work on, and particularly on delay calls like that.
Second down situation. Here's the young man Halloran, who lived in the shadows of Doug Flutie so long. Blocking protection. And he steps up, but he's pulled down.
It's a fumble.
And a fumble was triggered by McVay. And there he is, number 93, John McVay, an ex-linebacker, a 236-pound senior. And turnovers, which have hurt Miami and Boston College, are already a factor here today.
Gets hit from the backside, a little bit lazy in terms of holding the ball. Generally, quarterbacks, coaches want the quarterback to hold the ball up around the shoulders with both hands on it. Halloran a little bit sloppy, holding the ball down at his side under some pressure.
That's the 10th fumble of the year by Boston College. And now Miami with Vinnie Testaverde, the tall quarterback. Breaks a tackle. He got away from Big John Boza, and Darrell Oliver is pulled down on the play by Boston College, and it's Bill Thompson, I believe. Here's your offensive look, Miami, with Vinnie Testaverde, Oliver, Bratton, Willie Smith, Brian Blades, and Michael Irvin. Irvin, a freshman wideout. Paul Berticelli, Maddox, Riccozzi, O'Connor, and O'Neill, left to right on the offensive line, and a pretty good offensive line, albeit the fact they're inexperienced. Out of the eye, Melvin Bratton is down. Swing it out to Darrell Oliver. Hit and miss. Gorecki had him, slowed him up, and making the tackle for Boston College, Mike Degnan. And number 48, Derek McPherson, coming up from the left corner there to try and help out. So Garrick McPherson and Boston College will send this look with Gorecki, Bosa, Big Mike, Ruth Degnan, and Bill Thompson defensively. Romanowski, a dandy linebacker with Ted Gaffney. And the deep secondary will be Creshbane, Pelagata, Eiton, and Garrick McPherson. Creshbane, a late start, hurt last week, but all right here today.
Face a 3rd and 1 right here.
3rd down and 1. Have a tight pro set look. Given to Melvin Bratton. Fumble! Boston College, I believe. Or was it Miami on the bottom of the heap? No, Miami recovered. But a fumble coming over the line by Melvin Bratton, and a little bit out of the ordinary for him, Kyle. Over his career, every time he touches the ball by a pass or a run, he averages close to 9 yards a carry. This year, about 8 yards. So he is a very dangerous man. There's Big Vinnie, 6'5", 218. Kenny Oliver stretched to the near side as a wide receiver. Vinnie to throw. Vinnie's got his man. And at the 37-yard line, Neil Eiton bumping Mike Irvin, the freshman wideout from Fort Lauderdale, out of bounds or at least down, and so a completed pass for Vinnie Testaverde.
See, one reason they have a lot of confidence in this young man, he's got 2 more years to go. Those are his stats. You see the ratio of TDs to interceptions, which is basically the only negative statistic he has, 2.5 to 1.
1 first down rushing for Miami. They have a 2nd down and unofficially 2. There it is. Short stretch to the left side. Vinnie again. Complete inside the 20-yard line to Irvin. Garrick McPherson. So they're already going at McPherson. They've had problems on that left corner for Boston College. And Michael Irvin, who has caught 7 passes in 85, good for 16.5 yards a catch.
More importantly there, look at the offensive line blocking by Miami. Again, a line that only Paul Berticelli is the only returning starter on that line. They've got 4 new guys in there, and they provided Testaverde a very good pocket. Here's another look. They cover for one another. double team off one another. Gave Testaverde a lot of time.
19-yard pickup on that catch. Vinnie again with a 1st and 10. Vinnie with good protection. Now he's getting swarmed under. Now he'll be thrown down, and a flag goes with it. Tom Perrell, backup tackle. Big, strong kid was the man that made the stop. And we've got a call coming up against Miami.
Holding against the offensive line as they were trying to do anything to get Perrell. Perrell, you might remember, was the man who blocked the field goal against Brigham Young in the first game of the season. Kickoff classic. Here's the official call.
Illegal use of the hands against the offense. Refused. 2nd down.
And so this year, with the liberalized use of the hands in terms of pass blocking, obviously they must have been trying to tackle Perrell that time.
You see a lot of that extra use of the hands on the offensive line blocking. We saw it on the replay before, Kyle, where they are using those hands a lot more freely. A little bit more slapping. 2nd down and 20 now. 10-12 to play in the quarter, no score. Miami trying to march. Oliver and Bratton are back with Blade, Smith, and Irvin, the wideouts. And they crack inside the 25. Darrell Oliver, a 6-foot junior running back, tackled by Tom Perrell. Remember, Big Mike Ruth, the Outland candidate in the middle of that defensive line. There's Darrell Oliver averaging 2.8 a carry. As I mentioned, he is a junior. He's also a receiving threat, and Jack Bicknell is well aware of that.
Well, both of these offenses, again, the modern college sophisticated offense, they're going to use their tight ends and tailbacks as much, if not more, than they're going to use their wideouts.
They will average about 354 yards a game passing. Look at the slot on the right side. Irvin in the slot. Coming out near here is Brian Blades. Vinnie again. Vinnie wrapped up. Hello, says Bill Thompson, and down at the bottom, John Bosa. Mike Ruth, do you want to dance? Vinnie Testaverde.
Little overload in terms of the attacking style by Miami. Put 4 receivers out, all on the right side of the field. Unfortunately for Testaverde, his pressure was coming from the right, which made him roll left. And when he rolled left, there were no receivers in his vision.
The big 3 up front for BC, 265, 268, 253. Meat in cleats, and they can get it done. Now a field goal attempt, Greg Cox. Ball is on the 23-yard line, looking at a 33-yard kick. Holder is David Kintai. It's in the air. And good. So Cox is now 3 for 5 and 85. And Miami has taken an early lead. It's Miami 3, Boston College nothing. And so Greg Cox, who has had field goal misses of 57 and 54, he has field goal mades of 31 and 48, adds a 47-yarder, and he'll give way now to Mark Seelig, as we had indicated, who will do all the kickoffs here this afternoon. Tracy Giles standing back on the near side, and on the far side it will be Tyrone Taylor for Boston College. Breeze is blowing behind Miami now, and it's starting to pick up just a little bit. Seelig, and downing it right there will be Tyrone Taylor. So Miami using the wind and taking advantage of it with a 3-0 lead on a 47-yard field goal. Here it is, 9 plays, 25 yards, took 3:34 on possession, and it all started with a Boston College fumble.
Just one thing, the turnover last week was one thing that they never had a problem with. Again, Halloran having such a good week, no interceptions last week. Their big win over Pitt.
Switching sides of the line goes Gieselman. Giaquino to the near side. Mark stretched to the far side. Halloran to Giaquino. At the 42-yard line. Joey Giaquino. And pulled on by a young, sometimes inexperienced secretary. Vinnie Blades was the man that made the tackle.
One of the longest curl-in post patterns as he gets underneath the 3-deep coverage of Miami. They've got 7 people back in the coverage. And Giaquino comes in, gets underneath the back coverage, and is able to make the catch. Good pass by Halloran to dump it in between linebackers and secondary.
Winston Moss was also there. Selwyn Brown. A 1st down and 10 ball at the 42. Give it up the middle to Kimball. Bruce Fleming, number 58, from Monaca, Pennsylvania, and he'll drive Jack Bicknell to more than just waving the hands before the afternoon is over with. This kid here loves Jack Lambert, who played for the Steelers, wears the same number, number 58. And the senior, who's got his mom and a bunch of the friends hanging around a TV set up there in Pennsylvania somewhere, cheering for this one, will really make his presence felt as he led them in tackles last year. 2nd and 8. Giaquinto and Bell, Jim Bell, out to the far side. That's that read screen. And Jimmy Bell. And finally, it's George Myra Jr., son of the famous Miami quarterback, that bumped him out of bounds. So the ball close to, well, let's see where they're going to spot this one. Now they're inside Miami territory, about the 49-yard line. 3rd down and 1 on the 49. So far, Halloran is 4 for 4, 65 yards. That last one for 7 yards. Kelvin Martin to the near side. They'll go Jim Bell to the other side. Don Ellis, the left corner. He makes the tackle, and so now Halloran mixing them up a little bit, Kyle. But remember, they're going to go more pass than run, and so far, Halloran has been letter perfect on his passing here this afternoon.
Well, and it's obvious the defenses are not going to dominate. Both teams moving the ball with much ease, both on the ground and in the air. I don't think it's quite the aerial circus we had last year, but Jimmy Johnson certainly has some nightmares about that one.
Kelvin Martin is near. Tom Waddle is in now on the far side. Sean Halloran with a flag thrown. Dump it over the middle, Jim Bell. And inside the 40 and brought down by Miami at that point. But more and more, Kyle, you know, you're seeing Boston College are looking more like Brigham Young in their passing attack, where they dump it off to the backs out of the backfield. Penalty called against Boston College, so they'll wipe out this small gain.
Well, with the speed now of the linebackers, not just their size, but the speed, it's very difficult anymore to get single coverage on your outstanding wide receivers, and difficult to get single coverage anymore on a good tight end. So what you want to do is try to get the ball out to a tailback and give him the open field where he can try to go one against somebody.
Tom Thamer will give us the direct call on this one.
Holding, offense, repeat, 1st down.
Repeat on the down. The umpire's Andy Presgrove, the head linesman Earl Purdy, line judge Bob McGrath, side judge Bill Lang, field judge Tom Tierney, the back judge is James Elzio. 1st down and 20. Kelvin Martin is here, near side. Here's Halloran rolling this way. Big chase coming by Kevin Fagan. Underneath to Peter Casparello. Boy, Halloran is learning how to handle the pressure much better than he did the first game we saw him play 2 weeks ago.
Sure, they continue to show the game films of Doug Flutie, and he does a little Flutie-like move there. Hooks back. It was a naked bootleg to start the things out. Had a chance to throw the ball, but held up, turned back, and found one of the tight ends, the double tight end set that BC has used so much early in this ball game. That was what he did last week. You see again, the TDs, if you were to put interceptions up there, they were 0, and that was the key stat.
Well, that was the big thing, no interception. 2nd down and 10, so they got 10 on the last one. Jim Bell in motion. There's your readout screen man right there as they go to Bell. They love that play. And back inside the 40 now, and they're close to a 1st down.
It's called the read screen because when Halloran goes back, he reads the linebacker drop. If the linebacker comes over and covers the tailback like a Bell right there, then he'll throw the ball to the tight end. If the linebackers double up on the tight end, then he'll swing it out to Bell and give him some running room. 3rd
down and 3 is what we have. Halloran is 6 for 6. Now that's the way the BYU quarterbacks build their passing totals too. And they have that little checkout man as a safety valve all the time. Inside the 35 to Kelvin Martin. Don Ellis, the freshman left corner. He's a math major, and he has to figure out some better numbers to keep him back short of those 1st downs for Jimmy Johnson's team this afternoon.
Jimmy Johnson trying to figure out how to defense this man, Kelvin Martin. He picked up as many yards as many teams do in passing, 172 off 7 receptions last week. Of course, the touchdowns that we showed you at the open of the show.
Halloran already has 92 yards. Darren Flutie is in near side. Whistles all over, flags down.
Legal motion, I believe, by Boston College.
Looks like May 1st down on the field, doesn't it?
All we need is a maypole.
Procedure called against Boston College. So that is the third penalty of the afternoon for BC, totaling 20 yards.
What a tremendous career that man, Jack Bicknell, has had here. Bicknell, 3 consecutive bowl games, the Tangerine in '82, the Liberty Bowl in '83, of course, the Cotton Bowl last year.
Illegal procedure. Offense. Repeat. First down.
First down and 15. Halloran, Kinbell. Darren Flutie is on to the near side. Kelvin Martin to the far side. So one running back, a blocking fullback, Kenny Bell, 5'10", 193-pound senior from Connecticut. And he gets the call this time. And Kevin Fagan, the senior from Lake Worth, Florida, who led them in tackles. In fact, he had, 11 tackles for losses and a couple of sacks in '84. He led them. He was terrific. Kevin Fagan, he's the strongest of the Miami Hurricanes. Bench presses over 580 pounds. He and Mike Ruth would have some contest. Joe Giaquinto, who has a couple of catches already. In motion goes Tracy Giles. 2nd and 13 from the 37. And that little check-off pass again. Close to the 29 goes Scott Gieselman. Winston Moss, the strong side linebacker. Possible All-American candidate. Computer science major, and he made the tackle for Miami.
When you give Halloran that much time, any player, any receiver is going to be able to find space, and that's what, of course, what the tight ends are doing. They're running a pattern. If it's not on, they change it. They hope that Halloran is going to read that, and with that much protection, Halloran has that ability.
Tracy Giles is in for Jim Bell, who's hurt his shoulder. Halloran has 100 yards already, unofficially on 8 for 8. Has to hurry. Puts it up in the air. And comes out of there with Scott Gieselman. George Myra, number 45. John McVeigh, number 93. McVeigh was a man that stopped the last drive of the fumble recovery after his own hit.
This guy's becoming fun, Sean Halloran, to watch. And again, very difficult to compare players because physiologically he's so different. And on 4th and 1, it looks as if Boston College is going to make the gutsy call again and go for it. Actually, it's closer to 4th and 2, though.
And a lot of the reason for that is, Kyle, they really don't have a good, strong kicking game. Certainly not the caliber of Miami's. 4th down and 2. Mahalik, Giles, Halloran, they got extra blockers in there now. John Mahalik, a reserve fullback. And Halloran again delivers, and this time it's Peter Casparillo. Live ball. Has Miami recovered again? They have. Twice, Miami has stopped a drive. And that is Tolbert Bain. Remember him? Well, remember last year when Reggie Sutton and Bain collided on the Flutie miracle pass, and Darnell Fullington watched as Phelan pull off the miracle, and Boston College won. We'll be right back.
After having made the first down, and once again, as you said, Eddie, a turnover has stopped the Boston College attack. The Miami defense has not stopped them today, though.
Boston College has had problems handing on to the football. That is the 11th fumble recovery, and there he is, Tolbert Bain. Tolbert just got himself a new haircut there. Well, he's looking clean, cleaner than the Board of Health. First and 10 at the 18-yard line. Vinnie Testaverde with Oliver and Bratton flooding out. Vinnie with a good rush. Mike Ruth is in his tracks. Complete to Brian Blades. And he is going to take it in. Brian Blades just beat Garrick McPherson on a busted play, and it looked like Boston College had him stopped. And Brian Blades, number 9, a sophomore 185-pounder, trots in for 6.
You mentioned something about the athletic ability of Testaverde, also the strength of his arm. Take a look here, going to his left, throws back to his right, throws the ball about 55 yards in the air, and Brian Blades takes it the rest of the way on an 82-yard touchdown for the Hurricanes. And they're poised to take a 10-point lead, and the Boston College fans really surprised.
Greg Cox to kick, and it's good. Miami arrived at 1 o'clock this morning because of Hurricane Gloria, but they've got some wind of their own going now, and they lead it 10-0 in Foxboro.
And they mentioned before the game what a strong arm Testaverde had, and there's a good indication of it.
Brian Blades in Miami wanting to repay Boston College for what happened last year. They've been talking about it all year long. And so far, they're off to a great start. 10-0, 2:45 remaining in the first quarter. Tyrone Taylor and Tracy Giles will be back. This will be Tyrone. They've not yet been able to return a kick because the wind is at the back of the kicking Miami team, and so they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. We're a long way from the finish, however, and Miami has been known to come back. Last week they spotted Pitt 3-0, went ahead 21-3, lost the lead 22-21. Then with about a minute and 20 came back with that prayer from the 50-yard line to go across and score and win it 29-22. Making life a little miserable for Foge Fazio, who we'll see again next week against South Carolina. First and 10 at the 20. Gieselman over from the left to the right side. Play action fake. Giaquinto at the 38-yard line. Tolbert Payne, an often maligned right cornerback for the Miami Hurricanes, made the tackle. But so far in that 18-yard pickup, our friend Halloran is perfect, 11 for 11.
Same pattern that they had before. You've got the tight end and the tailback in short. Giaquinto comes across underneath the free safety, who's playing kind of center field for the team. Giaquinto, knowing he can't get behind them, breaks underneath.
Kelvin Martin near side, Joe Giaquinto the far side, going up against that four-man rush. And it's a full rush. They don't get too finesseful. And under pressure, Casparello intended George Myra right there to defend along with Bruce Fleming, and that is the first incompleted pass of the afternoon for Sean Halloran. He's 11 for 12.
We'll take a look at Kevin Fagan, number 95 on the outside for Miami. Comes up, beats a really pretty poor block in the backfield and puts some pressure. He'll get credit for QB pressure in the weekly stats.
Ken Bell, who is not a great blocking fullback, was the man that tried to slide down that time, and Fagan just made a little move. Flutie and Tom Waddle from Cincinnati Motor Hub. Double stretch to the near side. Bell and Tracy Giles. No word on Jim Bell or whether he has re-injured that shoulder that he hurt last week at Pittsburgh. Over the 35-yard line, out close to the 39. That's Tracy Giles. Bruce Fleming, 111 tackles last year. Jack Bicknell, looking for a ride there. Keeps slapping that left hip.
Trying to check his pocketbook. Say he's brought a lot of cash into this program too, with all those bowl games. Some people even mention he may be the next man at Notre Dame if Faust doesn't last.
Turned down the Miami job before Jim Johnson took it. 1 for 2 on third down conversions. They're 3rd and 10. They won't get it this time. Halloran under a lot of heat. Dan Stubbs, Darren McMurray, a couple of backup down linemen. And they had it going. Now, one thing to keep in mind about Miami, anytime after a big gain, they'll bring the blitz, or anytime inside the 30-yard line, they'll blitz to set you back on your heels.
And here's Halloran again. He was able to spin out of this last time as he cuts back against the flow. This time, that tenacious defense of Miami catches up with him. Here's Steve Peach punting now for Boston College. Not a very good one. Fair catch called for, fumbled.
Still loose. Who's got it? Mike Williams, a reserve defensive back, made the recovery. We'll be back. 10-0 Miami. College nothing. 50 seconds in the quarter. It was a Mike Irvin fumble of the Steve Peach kick, the punt, and it was recovered by Mike Williams, a reserve defensive back for BC. Jim Bell, incidentally, has separated his shoulder. He is out of the game, and that really hurts Boston College. Bell been averaging about 6 yards a carry. Out of the eye, Tracy Giles will replace Jim Bell. That is complete. Gieselman scrambling to the 25-yard line. Bruce Fleming and Boston College making a habit of trying to test that Miami secondary here and having a lot of success.
So Bruce Fleming, 58, is the man who kicked the pylon into the stands after Boston College came back in the miracle at Miami to beat the Hurricanes, and that time he got turned around like he was in a tornado of sorts and didn't even see the pass thrown.
Halloran Halloran 12 for 13 for 143 yards unofficially. They flop him over on the offensive line. Near side Waddle. Gieselman is the stand-up tight end. Going deep. And Tom Waddle was the intended receiver, and an interference call. Tolbert Bain was there. Number 36, Benny Blades. And that was almost a replay of the miracle at Miami last year, where Bain ran into Reggie Sutton. And the ball got away and ended up into the hands of Gerard Phelan as Darrell Fullington looked on, and Boston College won.
Well, here's the official call, but we're sure it was pass interference against this man, Benny Blades, number 36.
His brother Brian incidentally caught the 82-yard touchdown pass. The officials. Now, Kyle, under the rules, you can only pick up 15 yards in a pass interference call. That's a little different than it was a couple of years ago, unless you get inside the 2-yard line, and then it becomes a half the distance deal. So they give him the 15 yards. You get 15 or the, well, here, let's pick up the call.
Defensive pass interference, automatic first down.
So it's the automatic first down.
Here's another look from the low ground camera, and a little bit of bumping going on. That by number 18, and of course that is Tolbert Bain.
That's the 7th first down for Boston College. 1st and 10 at the 10. Tracy Giles in motion to the right. Halloran over the middle, and he overthrows the intended receiver, Gieselman, the tight end. Gieselman is some target. He's 6'6", 249, a senior. And there's Halloran, who has only missed twice. He has 143 yards for Jack Bicknell this afternoon. The winds are picking up again here at Foxboro. We'll hope that big old storm's not turning around and coming back.
That's Paul Jett, the new defensive coordinator for Miami. He came in from Oklahoma State, where he put together that tenacious defense that they had.
Waddle and Giles are stretched to the right side. Kelvin Martin in motion. 2nd and 10 from the 10. And way overthrown in the end zone. Gieselman again. Dan Stubbs, who is coming blind side behind Halloran, who's a big, strong kid, 6'4", 209. Well, I don't care how big you are, when you have a man that's 240 pounds climbing all over your back, you can feel it.
Halloran not getting quite the time that he had earlier. They're using so many more play-action type passes now, which allows him not to drop back quite as far. He's not staying quite in the pocket, and the pocket is collapsing on him, putting him under some pressure. 6
defensive backs in for Miami as they pull 2 defenders, Fleming and Moss. Waddle and Flutie to the near side, Kelvin Martin to the far side. 3rd and 10 from the 10. A little turn and intended for Kelvin Martin. Man on his back. Whistles all over the place again. And an incompleted pass, but let's see what we have down on the field.
I didn't know Kelvin could play third base like that. A nice short hop.
David Rooney has come on for Boston College. Ball is on the 10. Rooney will be the kicker. Rooney so far has not had a lot of success. He has not had a field goal this year, 0 for 2. A 28-yard field goal attempt. And it is good. So David Rooney is on the board, and so is Boston College.
It's going to be good, but we're going to have a penalty against Miami for hitting the kicker and the holder. Personal foul against the kicker. There you go. So that will be assessed on the kickoff.
Attaboy, David. He likes the results of this call, I'm sure. Rooney had a real battle going here with a couple of other kickers, and he has one out. He's a freshman, so a young kicker, and that kicking game has been something that has caused a lot of concern for Jack Bicknell. Sean Regent, the offensive tackle and one of the tri-captains for the Boston College Eagles, is now discussing the call with the referee, Tom Thammer.
Also, because of the location of where they are, whether or not they want to go ahead and take the penalty or not, or take the points. Typically, as a coach, you take any points that you can get on the board rather than go back. And we'll see what the call is. will be assessed on the kickoff. That's what he's saying. They're going to take the field goal. In case you were with us last week, Rooney was wearing number 45. One reason is because they don't have numbers in these jerseys. We're going to take a break. It's 10-3, the Hurricanes of Miami over Boston College.